today I've got 3 simple yet effective tips to share with you guys that are under the advanced settings in Pokemon Go to help you improve your Pokemon Go experience. Alright, so hi to all of you guys. So yes, there have been many questions of people asking me on live stream how to actually improve certain things they do on Pokemon Go. I'm going to share with you guys certain things on the settings that are available to everyone if we are to go through with it. Alright, so let's go to bring my screen up and show you guys under the game settings. That's the only thing that we'll be looking at for today. Alright, so there are many things under the game settings. You can adjust the music, the sound, the vibration, which doesn't work for me because I'm playing on an iPad mini 7 and there's no vibration at all on the iPad mini. So there's even account, general, notifications, AR uploads, connected devices and services, which basically you can connect the Go Plus, the Pokemon Ball Plus or the Pokemon Go Plus Plus. Alright, accessibility, which is something that's rather simple, and the most important one that we're looking at today is advanced settings. Everything else I won't go through, especially not signing out. Alright, so let's go under the advanced settings. For those of you who have never gone onto the advanced settings before, I really highly recommend to check it out. Reason for that is because there are a few things over here that will definitely help you to actually improve the way you play Pokemon Go. So first thing though, you guys can see under the first section under items, it shows remember last used Pokeball. The type of Pokeball you last used will be automatically selected at the beginning of your next Pokemon encounter. By the way, if you guys see the items coming in, it's basically my Pokemon Go plus spinning the Pokestops around me, and it does it automatically. Alright, so it's an official device, by the way, by Nintendo. Alright, so it's an official device. Okay, so how do we use this remember last ball though? So now I have it turned on because it's green over there, but let's say if I turn it off. Okay, so let's say if I were to go and catch a Pokemon now, alright, you will see that the first ball that will appear for me is the Pokeball. Let's say if I throw the ball and I have caught the Meowth or whatsoever, then when I go back and encounter a second Pokemon, the Pokeball will still appear. Okay, but let's say for example if I use a Great Ball or an Ultra Ball for example, okay, and then for example now I've thrown the ball, I've caught the Meowth, and then now let's say if I go back and catch another Pokemon, then the Pokeball will appear again. But let's say if I want to constantly just keep on using Ultra Balls all the way, because let's say if a Spotlight Hour that has a rather low catch rate with 20% base catch rate, you want to only use Ultra Balls all the way. For example, if you're catching Morlu, for example, Morlu is a 20% base catch rate Pokemon with Stardust boosted, you would then want to use Ultra Balls all the way. So let's say if I've thrown the ball and caught the Meowth, and then after that I go back to the claim reward again, it's not Ultra Ball. So every time when I want to catch the Morlu, or basically the low catch rate Pokemon, I have to swap over to Ultra Balls. I have to keep swapping over to Ultra Balls each time, which is a bit too slow. But if you're gonna mass catch like a Spotlight Hour Pokemon that you know you will need to use Ultra Balls all the way, then just go to the advanced settings and turn this on. I always have this setting on. I never ever turn it off. Alright, so now when you actually go and catch the Meowth or whatever Pokemon, I mean just whatever Pokemon, alright, and I select Ultra Ball, and let's say if I've thrown the ball and the ball has land on the Meowth and I've caught the Meowth, then if I go back and catch it once more again, it will be Ultra Ball again. It will always remember the last used ball, which my last used ball was the Ultra Ball, and then it will just keep on bringing in the Ultra Ball. So if I were to use Great Balls all the way, alright, I then will have Great Ball always selected, and that's how I actually do my usual stream grind. I always have the last ball selected. I just keep using Great Balls over and over again. I don't have to keep on selecting Great Ball, selecting Great Ball. That's going to take a lot of time. So that will save you a lot of time to not need to select, alright, the Great Ball, Ultra Ball. But if you're going to use Pokeball all the way, it doesn't make a difference. But of course, with that setting on, it will still use the Pokeball regardless. So the second thing is open gifts when item bag is full. This open gift when item bag is full, I actually have it off. Alright, but we're not going to go through with it. But if you want to turn it on, go ahead. The second big tip that I'll share with you guys is this. Under the quality, you can see there's refresh game data. If you have issues with your game data, you can just refresh it. Enhanced graphics, I turn it off. But the second thing I want to go through is the native refresh rate. Smoother and more responsive visuals, which may affect battery life. So I'll talk about the part where it says which may affect battery life. I would say that it will affect battery life by about 20 to 30%, depending on what device you're using. But For me, if I have it turned on, my battery goes down 30% quicker. I've tested it and I know how much I will use in terms of battery. But I always have it turned on. Why? Because if I were to have it turned off, and now you guys can see when I turn the screen, it doesn't feel as smooth anymore, okay? But if you're using a device that is not so new and basically is a couple of years ago, I wouldn't recommend to turn this on because you're going to consume a lot more battery and it's going to be very, very laggy. But you can try it out, alright? I recommend all these tips that I'm sharing with you guys today to try it out for yourself and see whether it works to your favor in accordance to your device. So now that I have it turned off, alright, when we catch the meow, you can see that it's a bit not so smooth as before. When the meow jumps, you can see that the smoke, everything is not as smooth. But for me, I'm playing on the iPad mini 7 with that. It's actually the latest device for the iPad mini, and for me to turn it on, I always have it turned on, and now it runs very, very smooth. It takes the refresh rate, the native refresh rate of the iPad mini 7 itself. If you have a later model and your screen allows for 120 Hz, it'll become even smoother. But for the iPad mini 7, it's 60 Hz. So now that if we were to try and catch the meow again, you guys can see that the meow is going to be much smoother when it jumps. Hopefully it does. Come on, meow, jump, or do your attack or whatever you want to do. Come on, just show us how smooth you are. Okay, great. You guys can see it's definitely way smoother when we have the native refresh turned on. So I always have it turned on just so that I have a better game experience to keep on throwing the ball and I don't feel that it's laggy at all. But of course, it may overheat the device a little bit quicker, but whatever the case is, it's still way better than turning it off. Alright, so the third tip that I'll share with you guys is still under the advanced settings over here. Alright, but let's go into that. The third tip is to delete account. Just kidding, guys. That's something that we will never want to do. But once you delete the account, you can no longer access it anymore, yeah? So please do not do that unless you are planning to quit the game. Alright, so the react movement, that one I normally just turn it off. Alright, but the thing is, you guys can see a tick on the left side of the all assets have been downloaded. Download all assets. This is something I highly recommend. In fact, among all the tips, I recommend to do this if you have enough storage space in your device, on your device. I really recommend to download all the assets. If I'm not mistaken, it will be over a gigabyte of storage required, maybe about 1.5, 1.6 gigabyte worth of storage space. And how I know that is because I just recently got this iPad mini 7. I had to download all the assets onto the device, so it's only on the device itself. When I was still using my iPad mini 6, I will actually download the assets once every 2 weeks, about there. And for me also right now, I'm still doing it once every 2 weeks. But when I got this device just about a couple of weeks ago, in fact about a month ago, I actually downloaded all the assets and it was like 1.4 gigabyte or something like that, basically 1.5. And downloading all the assets will make it smoother for you, so you don't have to keep on whenever you are going to your Pokemon storage, the Pokemon will have to like keep on refreshing and everything. So it becomes a smoother and a quicker I guess experience for you. So that's just one extra tip I'll share with you guys. And I recommend when you actually do the download of this, it will also prompt you. Okay, now I cannot download anymore, but basically it will say that you will need to be on Wi-Fi. So I recommend to do it at home and not to use your mobile data because it's going to consume about 1.5 gigabyte worth of data. So that's a lot if you actually are using a mobile data and it's not that good to actually I guess use your mobile data if you are paying quite a bit for it. But whatever the case is, I really recommend to download it, every single asset, and every 1 to 2 weeks you can always check. Whenever there's a new update also, I will also check the downloadable assets and straight away download whatever. Alright, so that's my best recommended tip for you. If you have never tried this out before, I highly recommend to actually do it, as it will help you, especially before like a big event like a Go Fest or the WoW area or even the Carlos Tour, for example. Download the assets because most of the time all these assets will be in the game a few weeks before the actual event itself, and it will help you to load everything much quicker. Alright, but that's it from me, man. If you guys enjoyed this video and found this video being useful for you and maybe your friends, definitely share this video out to your community also, if you think that this will help them also. But also, if you guys did enjoy it and found it useful, definitely remember to leave a like on the video. Be much appreciated. Thank you very much. And let me know in the comment section down below which of the tips that I just shared with you guys are already utilizing it. And has it been useful for you guys? If it is, definitely let everyone know in the comment section down below too. Alright, so that's it from me, man. I'll see you guys in the next episode in the next video. Alright, so goodbye, Bye!